Hi all, welcome to my lesson for Study in E minor by Francisco Tarrega. This is one of the most famous studies for guitar, and it's a really great opportunity to work on your AMI arpeggios. So that is with the ring, middle, and index. Now, for a lot of people who are starting this piece, playing with the ring finger might be a relatively new thing. So let's talk about some of the struggles that can come with that. So when you play with your ring finger, it's really easy to let your shoulder get tense. So just make sure as you play to focus on relaxing, that it feels just like playing anything else. And once you can consistently get that relaxed ring finger, then you can try the arpeggio. Now, the study in E minor is actually a sequential arpeggio, meaning that each finger gets to the string individually. So ring will play as well as thumb. Then as soon as ring plays, middle gets to the string. Then as soon as middle goes to the string, or as soon as middle plays, index gets to the string. And then as soon as index plays, ring and thumb return to the string. So every note that you play will prepare another note or notes in the pattern. So go slowly, just with the right hand, just like I'm doing now, and master this pattern. Make sure you continue to stay relaxed with the shoulder. Okay, once you have that, you're ready to start. And this piece has a key signature of 1 sharp. That means that every F in the piece is going to actually be F sharp. And I believe the only one that we will encounter will be here on 1st string. So make sure you're always on 2nd fret. All right, let's look at the beginning of the piece. There's a really nice dynamic shape to it. And you want to make sure that the first measure has a nice crescendo into the 2nd measure where a decrescendo follows. So the loudest note will actually be the first pair of notes of the 2nd measure. So louder, louder, loudest, softer, and you do the same thing here. Anytime you play an arpeggio piece, dynamics are so important. It really gives a whole nother dimension to the music that you're trying to make. So really always be crescendoing or decrescendoing. There's always a shape to it. All right, once you have all of that, the piece is pretty repetitive. We do have just a couple of things to think about. One is those harmonics. We play 3 harmonics at the end of the 2nd line of the piece and then at the end of the piece. And in order to do that, I like to use, first of all, I'll use index, middle, and ring. So I won't strum, but I'll use my fingers. And I like to use my ring finger. However, you can pretty much get away with any finger. Some people will prefer the pinky or even middle. I would probably stay away from the index though, because you really have to get down in order to do that. So I would recommend ring finger, but really anyone is okay. All right, also as you're playing, look out for the bass notes. It's a little bit confusing because every single one is tied, meaning that they are combined together. So you will only be playing 1 bass note per measure. If you play like this, where every time you see a bass note you play one, not only are you working harder, but you're wrong. So really pay attention to the ties. It makes it easier, and just be careful there. Now, one part that I want to talk about in detail is once we get to measure 11 and 12. This is by far the hardest stretch of the piece right here. So in the left hand, it's a little bit confusing what you're going to have to do, and I'm going to talk about some details that will help to make it better. So at the beginning of that measure, measure 11, it's pretty straightforward. Just follow your fingers, what it says. So finger 3, 1, and 2 on F sharp, C, and A. Then we get the pinky on G, just like it says. So that's all pretty straightforward. However, now we're going to be shifting. And as you shift, you can actually keep the index and ring finger down on the guitar. So I shift to play A and D, and those two fingers just stay down. Then our ring finger will play C on 3rd string, 5th fret. So that's that measure. And there's one more detail here. As soon as you play this C, you're going to lift the index finger at the same time. So at least a few times practice just getting to there and stopping where you lift, okay? Now why do we lift? So that we can be ready for the G with our index finger in the next measure. So you should also practice just doing this, going from the last 3 notes of measure 11 to the first notes of measure 12. Okay, you might want to do just this many times in a row until it's consistent. Now, when we get to measure 12, there's 2 things you can do. If you feel like you're getting this piece really, really easily, and if you feel like you can stretch a little bit with your left hand, it's great to use the pinky for this high B so that the index finger can sustain the note G. There's a really nice sound to that. However, if this is a bit of a stretch, and it really might be if you're a beginning student, then I would recommend shifting with the middle finger here. And no one's going to miss it that much if you can't get that sustained note. And this would be a lot easier. So really this would mostly be what I would recommend, unless you're just really quickly acing every element of this piece that we've discussed. All right, that's really it for study in E minor. Think about all those things, and I think you're ready to go. Thanks for watching.